what is design thinking? It is as much a process as it is a mindset that is rooted in learning. There is 6 key phases, and the first is the empathize stage. In this stage of the process, you really want to observe and understand your users' needs and problems. And from the empathize stage, you go to the define stage, which is about analyzing the observations that you notice in that empathize stage and gaining insights. And you take those insights into the ideate stage. So that is thinking of a creative solution to tackle each aspect of the problem your user is facing. Then it comes time to prototype, which is taking those ideas and developing something tangible that you can show people. And when you show people, that is the test phase, which is getting feedback, testing those assumptions you had, testing your hypothesis, and seeing what works for consumers and what does not. And it should be noted, this process is typically not linear. It is a continuous loop where you might have to go back and revisit different stages of this process. And then finally, you should reach the implement stage, which is where you can understand the feasibility of your idea and create a viable business model that addresses that user problem. For the 21st Century Trends Project, my group looked into the rise of sustainable urban planning. So, what is sustainable urban planning? It is basically new sustainable solutions for urban planning problems. This planning is super important because right now most of the world lives in urban areas, and that number is only going to grow in the future, along with cities' carbon footprint. So, we looked into the question, how might cities adapt for climate change and move towards a greener future? And 3 trends that we think are answering this very question are: first, climate change infrastructure. What is it? It is basically innovations that protect us against extreme weather events like permeable pavements, infrastructure for flooding and rising sea levels. Next, we looked into urban farming. So, urban farming is the production and growth of food in cities that are heavily populated. This type of farming will help our cities fight food injustice and will also help increase access to fresh produce. The last trend we explored was reimagining transportation and mobility. It is basically redesigning cities for greener transport, and this happens largely through increasing the walkability, the bike paths, the transit quality, and providing mixed use design solutions in cities. We hope that cities can make these adjustments and that our futures can ultimately be more sustainable. This is my personal website that I made using a template in Wix. This website houses a lot of rapid prototyping skills that I've learned this semester. To tell my origin story, for the video format, I had to use Premiere Rush, gain some skills there, and then to do the audio capture and edit, I used Audacity. I made 2 infographics this semester. I made one for Tech Trends Shaping 2020, and then I made one that's just an infographic version of my resume. Next, I made some 3D designs in Tinkercad. I made a plant and a bookshelf, and I made an app design in Adobe XD. I did one to help people waste a little bit smarter and learn what is compostable versus recyclable versus what just needs to go in the trash. Clearly, I've gained so much knowledge and skills by taking BUSI 521, but in particular, I think the design thinking and storytelling skills will be most useful and relevant for me going forward. Right now, I'm applying to jobs and I'm really trying to be in what my teacher calls that 10% different. And I think that having a personal website, having a portfolio of projects, and a clear skill base will be super useful in making me an attractive applicant. And once I get that job, I think that it'll be nice to be able to hit the ground running with some of these skills I've been able to go ahead and learn in college before I even start. And lastly, just personal branding. I think it's so important to be able to communicate your story to anyone.